Monday morning, well, almost Monday afternoon, and that means that it's news time. I wanted to just touch on a few items. I've already done the video on the Devon Shore trade, so I want to throw in there. Apparently, Dallas fans are upset because Cogliano is older and the scoring upside isn't there. The scoring upside wasn't there with Shore either. He'd gone, I think, 17 games without a goal. He had 3 points, I think, in his last 21 or 22 games, maybe 4 points. It really wasn't working out for Shore in Dallas. I don't see him as a second line player. We'll see how things work out for him in Anaheim. I wish him the best, but I just want to throw that in at the start. Josh Gorges has officially announced his retirement. I always wonder with players like this, do they wait till a certain part of the year? Do they hold out hope that somebody's going to sign him to a tryout, or is it that they know and they don't officially make it official until later? Anyways, his career's officially over. He was pretty good physical defenseman, bottom top four at certain points in his career, bottom two for certain points as well. Good news for Ottawa fans. That's right, Chabot is almost ready. He's playing wearing a full contact sweater at practice. Craig Anderson is also doing the same thing, so he's almost ready to come back. Anderson, of course, has been out for a while, and it's probably been a nice rest for him. We'll see what kind of shape he's in when he comes back. And Duchesne. They're talking about Duchesne being back in the lineup and fighting off the fatigue of becoming a new dad. Before anybody laughs that off, if you're ready to laugh that off, you haven't been a new dad before. It can be exhausting. Anyways, 3 stars of the week. Mark Giordano of Calgary, Jordan Bennington of St. Louis, Jake Gensel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Very good week for all 3 of those guys. And, Giordano first star of the week. And that was that consolation because he's not in the All-Star. The funny thing is I make a lot of jokes about the All-Star game. The truth is I don't think Giordano's really going to care a whole lot. I think Giordano's probably looking at All-Star weekend and saying, oh, it's going to be nice to get a rest. So, I'll throw that in. Max Domi, this is quite the slump now. He does have 8 assists in his last 16 games played. And for people who are talking about Austin Matthews and how much he sucks right now, he has 1 goal and 6 assists in his last 8 games played. So, he has 7 points in his last 8 games, and we're all complaining about how little he's scoring. To me, that's not a slump. 7 points in 8 games isn't a slump. It might not be the kind of production people are used to from Matthews. Certainly, the goals production is down. I don't know. I think that the expectation with Matthews is just too high. He's still a kid, and he's going to go through this. And the 6 assists in 8 games is pretty good too. So, as long as he's getting points, you're in pretty good shape there. Now, there's a lot of talk about whether or not it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Here's the thing. We've got a lot of teams that are all in close. So, true sellers, and I've got it with a question mark because I don't know. Philly, probably, to absolutely. Ottawa, yes. Ottawa's going to be looking to recoup at least 1 first-round pick. I don't think they care if it's late or mid or what it is, but just to get a first-round pick, I think would be big for Ottawa. The Rangers, yeah, they're selling. LA, I don't know with LA because they've shown signs of getting back into the race, and I don't know if LA's convinced they're sellers. You'll notice I don't have St. Louis on the board because I don't think St. Louis is a seller right now. I think there's a lot of talk. I think there's a lot of talk with Tarasenko. I'm not sure that with the West being as wide open as it is, that a GM's just going to throw in the towel necessarily. New Jersey, probably selling, yeah. Florida, highly likely. I'm not sure what Florida sells, though. You're not getting rid of any of that young core up front. Detroit, absolutely. Nyquist will be an interesting one to see where he ends up. Chicago, probably. But again, with the West being so wide open, how long do you wait? You've got till February 25th. I think some of these teams will absolutely be sellers on February 25th. I think it's kind of early to label them right now. And buyers is tricky too. Like Columbus, where's Columbus at? If they're going to get rid of Bobrovsky and or Panarin, are they buyers? Do they qualify as sellers even though they're in a playoff spot? Like they're pretty high up in the standings. So are they going to be buyers at the deadline trying to show Panarin and Bobrovsky, hey, we're going to put this together and make this work? Did they add a blue liner or two so that Bobrovsky feels a little better about his spot? it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Calgary, this is a big year for them. I think it would be important for them to try to capitalize on it. I think they'll be buyers. San Jose, absolutely. Again, there will be cap considerations along the way, but I think it'll all be fine. Normally is. Toronto, yes, Toronto will be buyers, I would think. Winnipeg, I'm not so sure on Winnipeg because I don't know. I would think that if I'm selling Winnipeg an asset they need, I might ask for Vesalainen, which would lead to the phone being hung up. Nashville, this might be the last big hurrah for Pekka Rinne and for this core, and at least for parts of the core. I know there's still a lot of young players there, but Pekka Rinne, if he's going to win it, this might be the year. So they might be pressured to make a move. Vegas may very well be buyers at the deadline, especially if they can add another. I would think a top 6 sniper and a top 4 defenseman, if they could add one or the other. I think they would solidify their position a lot. The Capitals, I expect them to absolutely load up at the deadline and try to go for 2 in a row. And I don't have Pittsburgh up there because I'm not sure what category. I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to be buying at the deadline or not. I was trying to figure out, okay, which teams might make a big move. And then the what about category of what are these teams what are they going to do? Carolina's listed as a seller on a couple of different sites I've looked at. Like, oh, Carolina's going to be selling. I don't know. They're on kind of a run right now. They're not that far out of the playoffs. I think they'd be crazy to sell. All this talk about Ferland being available and then moving Ferland, I don't know that would be prudent at this point for Carolina, or for the fact that the fans are starting to care and things are starting to come together. I don't think moving a guy out as a selling move is smart. Minnesota, what are they? They're going into potentially a playoff run. But are they mediocre? Are they on their way out in the first round? And will a new GM be anxious to make sure they don't quote in the first round? Did they maybe buy? Did they maybe sell because they're an older team? Really interesting to see what they do. Dallas, of course, they made their first move today, bringing in Cogliano, which I think is just the first of what will probably be a few moves by Jim Nell. I'm not condemning the move because I don't think Devon Shore was in their plans long term. But I don't know that Dallas is buying or selling at the deadline. The Islanders, what do you do if you're the Islanders? Is this a one and done, or is this a team that with Barry Trotz behind the bench can stay there? Lou Lamoriello is not a guy to make a bunch of knee-jerk moves, so I don't look for a lot to get done, but it'll be interesting to see what he does do. He will work the phones, though. Buffalo. Buffalo is in danger of falling out. Buffalo's won 6 of their last 20 games. Is there pressure right now in Buffalo to perhaps bring in a veteran guy? Maybe look at a rental like a Gustav Nyquist. See if you can bring somebody in like that, and just stir the pot a little bit. Edmonton, there has to be pressure on Chiarelli to make a move to get this team into the playoffs. But are they going to be buyers? Could they potentially be sellers? Could Chiarelli sell ownership and the fans on the idea of maybe moving a guy or two out, get back prospects and draft picks? And better luck next year. Could he actually sell the fans on that? Colorado, they've got the worst record in the NHL since December 4th. They've won 4 games, and it's been a miserable dive to the bottom for them when you look at the standings since then, and they're starting to dive down the West. Now, because of the fact that it's the West, of course, and being mediocre over 20 games doesn't necessarily mean you won't make the playoffs. What position is Joe Sakic in? Is he in a position to maybe upgrade the team or let it ride? Maybe we can get the numbers 1 and 2 draft picks. Is that where we're going to end up? Montreal. Again, Montreal, I think they could use some scoring. I think they could use another blue liner, maybe two depth blue liners, and we'll see whether or not they're buyers, whether or not they look at this roster at the deadline and say, we're not contenders anyways, and they sell it off. Anaheim, of course, is curious, and as mentioned, they acquired Devon Shore today, who I wish all the best. What is Anaheim right now? Are they sellers? Are they buyers? Are they seeing themselves as maybe contenders? Yeah, it's going to be tricky. And Boston last year, of course, sold the farm for Rick Nash. Oh my God, they gave away Ryan Spooner and picks. Spooner alone is worth... I heard that. I actually heard people saying that Ryan Spooner was Well, a lot more than he was. And I understood it at the time. Spooner had decent stats with Boston, but I had no problem with them trading away Spooner and other picks for Nash. That being said, with the fact that Rick Nash didn't work out, didn't return to Boston, does Don Sweeney look at this year's deadline and say that last year kind of scared him off? He wants to keep their draft pick this year and stockpile on prospects while trying to take a run at a cup. That's going to be very interesting. So let me know what you guys think. I know not all 31 teams are on the board because there were some that I just said, they'll probably be fine, like Pittsburgh. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through and you just happened upon this video. And which teams do you think are true 100% sellers at this point no matter what? And what's Carolina, are they buying? Are they selling? I think with Tom Dundon, I think it's very unlikely they're going to be selling. I think he'd have a very hard time with Don Waddell if Waddell said, so I'm going to sell some guys off. I think Dundon would be like, look where we are in the standings. We could take a run at this. Go get me a goal scorer. And that's where things get really interesting. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just happened upon this video. I'll talk to you again soon.